Welcome back to Tracing the Sky. So in today's video, we're going to take another step towards understanding the sun and how it moves over time. In the last video, we asked ourselves whether the sun's path changes, right? We know it rises in the east and sets in the west, but we wanted to figure out if it changed over time. And we did something really important that I want to emphasize. We asked ourselves, over the course of a single day, what do we experience that changes based off of where the sun is? We know the sun's moving over the course of a single day, but what do we experience that's different? And we concluded that it was the amount of light we see and the temperature. But that question of what changes based off of the movement of the sun is something really important that we can reuse today and reuse in a lot of different situations. So the next step we want to take is to figure out how the sun is moving over time. Now remember, last time we did realize that the sun must be doing something different, right? The length of the days changes over time, the temperature changes, it's warmer in the summer, it's colder in the winter. And we know that those things must be based off of the sun and its path through the sky, but we don't yet know how that path is changing. That was the open question we left. So where do we start figuring this out? So there's definitely one thing we don't want to do. It would be dangerous and really painful to try and just look at the sun and watch how it moves over the course of time. It also wouldn't be super effective. So let's use the question we asked last time to see if we can find any clues. Is there anything that would change based off of how the sun's moving that would be a lot easier and less painful for us to look at, for us to observe? What can we see changing around us as the sun's moving over the course of a day that would allow us to track the sun's path through the sky? Well, I think this is a great opportunity to pause the video and just think about this. Maybe talk to your friends or family about what might be changing based off of where the sun is. What things do you just notice around you when the sun's lower in the sky or higher in the sky that you can see? We've talked about the fact that the light changes, but that's a little harder to measure and know exactly what's changing. And we know temperature changes, but is there anything that's a little bit easier for you to spot? Maybe on the ground, maybe around you on day-to-day life, that would be based off of where the sun is in the sky. Okay, well, I hope you had a chance to think about this a little bit, and I wonder if you came up with the same answer as me. If I go outside, there's one thing that stands out for me, especially if I'm in an open space and I can look down around me. I notice that I cast a shadow, and that gets me thinking, shadows are everywhere. They're everywhere where there's light. And so can we use our shadow or a shadow to figure out how the sun's moving? Now, one thing you can do is go outside at different times of day and try and notice whether the shadow changes. Does the direction your shadow is pointing change? Does the length of your shadow change? And are those changes based off of where the sun is? Now, I've got one really fun thing you can try to help you figure this out. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. Grab yourself a nice tall pole or stick and plant it in the ground somewhere that's really easy for you to get to. Somewhere where you can cut back to throughout the day and where no one's going to move it. You want to make sure that there's nothing between the pole and the sun. And if you do that, you'll see that there's a shadow cast by the pole. And so what you can do is come back every few hours. And I want you to do two important things. First thing is to mark the position of the shadow. You can do this with a stone or with a stick. And if you have some string, what a great idea is to tie one end of the string to your pole and the other end to your marker. And the other important thing you'll do every time you go outside is make a note of where the sun is. It doesn't have to be super accurate, just roughly, is it, east in the sky, how high it is roughly. Maybe you can pick out some landmarks and see where the sun is relative to those landmarks. So every few hours, you're going to go outside and place a marker where the shadow is, make a note of where the sun is, and do that over and over again throughout the course of a day. And then at the end, try and figure out what has changed. Has the direction of the shadow changed? Has the length of the shadow changed? And what about the sun's path has changed relative to those changes of the shadow? And in the next video, we'll do this together and see if what you got is the same results as me. Well, if you're enjoying the series, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. And next time, what we'll do is catch up and see if we can figure out how the sun's moving based off of the shadow of our pole. See you next time.